In 1947, a UFO descended from the sky into New Mexico onto a ranch where the object crashed. Was it a bird? Was it a plane? Or was it an alien? This is the Conspiracy of Roswell, New Mexico. My name is Olan Hulion and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are talking about the alien crash of 1947, which is Roswell, New Mexico. Well, alleged UFO crash, because I'm not trying to get sued by the United States government. Today's video, we are also going to be doing my makeup while we talk about Roswell. We're going to the very start of Roswell. Okay, if you're wondering what I'm looking at, this is my notes right here. Oh, I hate when they do that. Okay, my mirror is right here, my notes is right here, okay? Roswell was first visited from settlers from Missouri in 1865, which was an attempted settlement 15 miles of southeast of modern-day Roswell. But this settlement was abandoned due to the fact that they had no water. I mean, you can't do anything without water, so it just didn't happen. A man by the name of John Chisholm, he was a big rancher. He is most famous for his ranch called the Jingle Bob Ranch, and it's about 5 miles from the center of modern-day Roswell at South Spring Acres. At the time, it was the largest ranch in the United States. A man by the name of Vance Smith, who's a businessman, and he was from Omaha, Nebraska. His partner decided to build 2 adobe buildings, which became a general store and a post office, but they also had sleeping quarters within this building as well. This settlement was built in 1869, 4 years after the original attempt of Roswell. So this building was basically, it had sleeping quarters, so it was basically a modern day, like, it was like a bed and breakfast or like an Airbnb. It was just a general store, it was a post office, so it wasn't really much going on at this town, but that's where the town really started. So Vance Smith filed a claim with the United States government in 1873, and then he became the town's first postmaster, which is a big deal for any town back then, because if they had a post office or whatever, the town would eventually be successful. It's like, but like any time a post office would leave a town, the town would fall, because they didn't have any way to receive mail or any information. So it was a big deal. It's like as if a town today didn't have internet. Like, nobody's going to stay there. We need our internet. So a man by the name of Nathan Joffer, I don't know exactly how to say his last name. We're just going to go say Joffer. He was having a well drilled in his backyard. This is wherever they discovered an aquifer. So if you remember, the reason why the first element of Roswell wasn't successful is because they had no water. He was just doing this thing. It was 1890. He was having his little well being drilled in the backyard, just hoping there was water coming. Boom! The water hit. They struck it. It was just going everywhere. They were like, oh, this is great. This is great for the town. In 1889, Roswell became the seat of Chaves County. A railroad was built through the town in 1893. What's a county seat? Let me look. Oh, okay, it's like a government area of a county. So like it was just like, you know, where like, you know. Yeah, you know. In 1891, Roswell had a military institution put in, and the school contributed to New Mexico becoming a state in 1912. So like if this military institution did not get put in, New Mexico wouldn't have been a state as fast as it was. But since there was a military institution, they were like, okay, well, this is now a state. So yeah, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, also like the whole like military institution thing, it's really confusing because later on it talks about it being an Air Force base, but like now, like as in 1912 earlier stages, it was confusing as to like if it was a school or if it was just a military institution altogether. I wasn't really sure. So what it says is it was a military institution, which was also a school. I don't know. The 20th century kept Roswell on the map, first with the Air Force Base containing experimental flight trainings, and of course the alleged UFO crash of 1947. Out to the juicy stuff. It was a warm summer day. Well, I mean, I think it was warm. You never know, it's a damn desert, but it was a warm summer day, July 7th, 1947, to a big sheep ranch north of Roswell. Rancher by the name of William Roswell discovered wreckage of what seemed to be a flying saucer scattered all over his ranch. He gathered some of the material, he went into town, and he talked to the sheriff, and the sheriff was named George Wilcox. George Wilcox contacted Colonel William Blanchard, the commanding officer at Roswell Army Airfield, which was a part of the 509 bomber squad that bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki during World War II. The military is a very complicated system. I'm going to go ahead and try to explain this. So it was like, with the military, it's like this person gets notified, this person gets notified, and this person gets notified. It's like chain of command. It's like going up the ladder. It's bureaucracy at its finest, honestly. So Colonel Blanchard tells General Roger Ramey. In turn, he orders Major Jesse Marcel to go do the investigation at the ranch. That night, the military swarmed the ranch as if it was Bin Laden being swarmed in 2011. They're like covered this area. So the military gathered everything that they were supposed to gather, and it is alleged that they took the materials to Area 51, but that's never been confirmed. I mean, a lot of this has never been really confirmed. But it's alleged that it all got taken to Area 51. The material that they discovered was said to be stretchy and that you could bend it wherever which way. So it's like you take it, you can snap it, you can bend it, and then it would snap back. How is that possible? I don't know. Probably because it's alien. We don't have anything like that even now, and it's 2024. So I don't know how they got in possession of that, but like it was said to just do whatever you wanted it to do, and it would snap back into its form, like its original form. But the material is to be described as like almost like aluminum, almost like it was thin as aluminum, it's thin as like paper, but like the consistency of like aluminum is what is said to be, is what is said. You know what I'm trying to say. But the following morning after the crash, the Air Force put out a statement quoting, "The many rumors regarding the flying disc became a reality yesterday when the intelligence office of the 509th Bomb Group of the 8th Air Force, Roswell Army Airfield, was fortunate enough to gain possession of a disc through the corporation of one of the local ranchers in the sheriff's office of Travis County." And then from here, girl, it was like wildfire. It went everywhere. People start freaking out. People start panicking. The aliens are coming, you know. And you know what's kind of weird to like realize is that like, you know, today people say alien this, alien that. We're like, okay, whatever. But like back then, that must have been some weird shit. Oh God. Because I mean, they didn't have phones. They didn't have anything. Like they barely had any like movies, like let alone like sci-fi type movies. So just like imagine hearing something from outer space, like something from not of this world back in the 40s, like holy shit. And they've probably been terrified already because they just came out of World War II, where big bombs disintegrated people, evaporated people. So just imagine that. And according to the statement, Major Jesse Marcel, an intelligence officer of RAFF's investigation of the crash site and the recovered materials, and once the statement was put out, people lost their shit. Okay, but something that no one ever talks about is that this summer that there was already like alleged UFO sightings. Like people kept seeing flying saucers, but like it wasn't reality, like none of them crashed. It was just like hearsay basically. Mr. Roswell, the rancher, he said that he's never even, like he didn't even know this was happening. He had no idea about the flying saucers, which I mean, it makes sense. He was a rancher. I mean, he probably didn't read the newspaper unless he went into town. Like, he was just doing his own thing on his little ranchy ranch. So, like, he was probably telling the truth and he haven't heard anything about this. It makes sense why the media grabbed this up and ran with it, as the media always does anyways. It's because, like, people were already, like, claiming that they saw sightings of it. So now they had, like, their evidence from a reputable source, which is the freaking military. It didn't just come from nothing. Like, it was coming from the military's mouth. So, like, I mean, that's like today we get a notification on our phones from the military. We're gonna believe it because it's from the United States military. Okay, so once this started, like, catching wildfire or whatever, the military was like, oh shit. Like, what the f, Marcel? Why would you release that? Why would you say that? We gotta keep this hush-hush. Like, you gotta figure out how to cover it up right now, obviously. Like, you gotta fix this. Flying saucer, where? We don't know what the hell you're talking about. Go fix it. Is basically what was happening. As soon as that happened, Major Marcel and General Roger Ramey, they took a trip to Fort Worth, Texas, to an Army Air Force base, where a weather forecaster identified the material that they brought
as a ray wind target used to determine the direction and velocity of winds at high altitude.
So, a weather balloon. They're basically saying this was a freaking weather balloon, which, I mean, no, it wasn't. It was a flying saucer. Like, come on now, like, hello. They went so far to cover this up that they even had, like, materials that looked like the weather balloon. But, like, it was, like, literally just, like, some aluminum out, some sticks, and some, like, pins or whatever. And, y'all, people actually believed this after they took pictures. Like, they're like, oh, a weather balloon? Yes. Yes, it is. It is the weather balloon. The aliens are coming for us! But also, if it was a weather balloon, there's no way the military would have swarmed the ranch like they did. Like, there is no absolute way. And for it to, like, the military to say they identified a flying saucer, and then they come back and say it's just a weather balloon, like, there's...
Like, how do you mix up a flying saucer with a weather balloon?
I don't understand. It beats the hell out of me, but whatever. So July 9th, the newspaper put out an article, and it headlined, "This craze continues," which debunked the flying saucer and said it was a balloon, right? Okay. And the same day at Roswell, the newspaper put out an article stating, "Harassed rancher who located saucer, sorry he told about it." I mean, I don't know why he's sorry he told about it, because he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He went to the sheriff. The sheriff went to the military. And then Jesse Marcel was like, "Hello everybody, here's an announcement. We have a flying saucer discovered here in Roswell, New Mexico." Like, come on, dude. Like, the rancher did nothing wrong. He did what he was supposed to. It was the military that dropped the ball. So, if anything, if the rancher's being harassed, he shouldn't be the one being harassed, which, I mean, it makes sense. You go straight to the source. You're like, okay, was it a flying saucer? Was it a balloon? But I'm pretty sure he's like, y'all, it's a balloon! But anyways, later on, the rancher started changing up his story, which, hello, is to be expected. The military probably got to him and was like, this is what you saw. You saw nothing else, okay? Okay. So, anyways, he started changing up his story. He was like, sticks, aluminum, and some rubber that he found. Nothing else of the sort, which I think, like, the military definitely was like, rubber and sticks. That's what you saw, right? He was like, yeah, rubber and sticks. And aluminum, of course. Let's go back to the night of the crash itself. So throughout the years or whatever, they were, like, after the crash or whatever, there was rumors that there was a body taken away from the crash, which makes sense. Like, they say it was an alien body taken away. It was, like, the size of a child taken away, which, I mean, it makes sense. Like, when there's a plane crash, there's bodies. Whenever a ship sinks, there's bodies. When a car crashes, there's bodies.
When a train derails, there's bodies.
So if it is a UFO crash, there must be bodies with it. I don't think they have the technology to just send a little flying saucers around. Okay, they might. They might. We're gonna say they don't. So let's fast forward a couple of decades to 1978. Stanton Friedman, a UFO researcher, and originally a nuclear physicist. So, like, this man is a smart cookie. He's a smart man. So this man started digging into the can of worms which makes up Roswell, New Mexico. And he went as far as to interview Jesse Marcel, you know, the guy that oversaw the investigation, the guy that was like, hello, flying disc was discovered. Yes, it was him. And whenever he was interviewing Jesse Marcel, Marcel stated that he never saw anything like that his entire career. And he described the materials, and one thing he mentioned was the beams, and no one has ever mentioned it, and the materials consisted of wood. Okay, like the I-beams, the material consisted of wood, but it was hard like metal. And there was like these weird symbols, like almost hieroglyphic. My brain is short circuiting, y'all. What is it called? Hieroglyphics? I think it's what it's called, hieroglyphics. You know the little symbols in the pyramids that the Egyptians used to write on? Those symbols. That's what it is. My brain just not working. Alright, I mean, it is working. I know what I'm trying to say, but I can't say it. My mouth isn't doing it. And apparently these symbols are like consistent with other alien sightings. And Jesse wrote them down, and he also stated it was definitely not a weather balloon. And he also talked about the materials we talked earlier, like, you know, the bend and snap ones. Like, you could bend it, and then it would just snap back into place, those. Almost 20 years later, in 1994, the government, like, put out a document saying that the weather balloon story was fake and that it was a cover-up, and that they stated it wasn't a cover-up of an alien crash, though, but a high-tech weather balloon. Yes! Can you believe it? A high-tech weather balloon. Bunch of bullshit, if you ask me. You wouldn't have the need to say it was a cover-up for a weather balloon if it was just that, like, you know what I mean? You wouldn't come out and be like, yeah, it was a cover-up for a high-tech weather balloon. No, you just leave it alone because you already said it was a weather balloon. There's no need to say anything else.
Whatever.
Okay, so this high-tech weather balloon that they had at the time, it was a part of Project Mogul. And this project ran from 1947 to 1949. And the weather balloon had microphones attached to it. Okay, so these microphones that were attached was to monitor sound frequencies of potential nuclear tests that the Soviet Union was performing at the time. You have to remember at this time, it was right after the detonation of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which led us into the Cold War with the Soviet Union, which is modern day Russians. So basically they were like, yes, cover up, but don't look over here at the facts and stuff about the potential alien crash. We were like, let's give you this boring stuff. Yes, it's very boring, we know. It was a cover-up, and we're so sorry for the cover-up. We really are, but, like, here you go. So, in 1997, they released an extensive report talking about the crash again, because there was eyewitnesses coming out, and there was also, like, eyewitnesses stating throughout the years that there was bodies taken away from the crash. Like I mentioned earlier. Oh, this is messy. This is so messy. They're like, there's no bodies in the crash. It was just a dummy, which, okay, you're basically saying there was a body, okay? It's just too weird. Like, if it was just a dummy, like, why would you say, like, why was that in your initial report back in the day? You know what I mean? These dummies were tall. Like, these were these 6-foot, like, dummies. And the bodies reported in the crash were, like, eyewitnesses reported to be small, like a kid. So, data government, explain that. Why are there 6-foot dummies whenever it's reported that these bodies were shaped like kids? I'll be right back. I'm about to fix this, and then I'll finish off the rest of the story in a second. Donald Skimmett, a UFO researcher who has spent nearly 3 decades investigating Roswell and the incident that occurred that night in 1947. He is also a co-founder of the International UFO Museum Research Center in Roswell. He says that the explanation that the military gave made little to no sense. The flying saucer story, he contends, was upstaged, that it was bound to draw attention. And there's no reason why you would want to draw attention like that to Roswell because of the sensitive military operations that were going on in the area at the time. He quotes, 2 hours west of Roswell, the first atomic bomb was detonated. You had ongoing atomic research at Los Alamos. You had all the testing of captured German V-2 rockets at White Sands. And at Roswell, you had the first atomic bomb squadron headquartered. Scammon says this thought that they would have intentionally set up any type of publicity as a distraction. If anything, they needed less attention on this area. Anytime anybody would ask for files to be released on Roswell, the files were either missing, gone, or burned. And they also say that there was files destroyed from January to October 1947. That was a little convenient to me. But you know, who am I? I'm just a civilian. What the heck? Where did that go? This glitter is going everywhere. Glitter. So there's also been stated that some of the documents have been discovered, but they're currently locked away. There was allegedly this thing called Majestic 12, which was a panel of scientists put together by President Truman. And it was meant to figure out what happened at Roswell, take what they could get and reverse engineer the technology that they discovered. But this has never been confirmed nor denied. But there's also documents that leaked on Majestic 12. If you would want a video on that, let me know. It's just too much to go through right now. There's other theories such as technology that came from the USSR. And in a book called Area 51, An Uncensored History of America's Top Secret Military Base, states that the crashed flying vehicle was neither extraterrestrial nor the work of the US spies. Rather, it was an unconventional plan to induce widespread panic across the United States and to the American people, implemented by Joseph Stalin. So an unnamed source that worked as an engineer at Area 51 for the defense contractor EG&G told the book's author, Anna Jacobson, a veteran national security journalist and Pulsizer, I can't say it. I'll throw it up on the screen, but Pulitzer Prize nominee, that the program had been designed by Nazi concentration camp Dr. Joseph Mengele. According to the source, adolescent children were deformed by the Soviets to resemble aliens and then deployed in an aircraft to fly over New Mexico and then deployed. And according to this book, Stalin's plan was for the children to climb out and be mistaken for visitors from Mars. Panic would ensue, and America's early warning radar system would be overwhelmed with sightings of UFOs. In 2020, I think it was, in 2020, whenever the world was falling apart, the United States military released all kinds of documents and pictures of UFO sightings. Although they've never confirmed anything about Roswell, we can probably take that Roswell actually did happen. They just are trying to keep it hush-hush still. Has benefited from the crash of 1947, therefore bringing in all kinds of tourists. There's been TV shows made about it, documentaries put out about it. The crash of 1947 in Roswell has made this place an enormous tourist attraction. I think I just said that, but like, so many people a year flock to see it. They have little gift shops, everything there's themed alien, like it's a really fun place. And Roswell has become a great source of conspiracy theories, and it has influenced pop culture as we know it today. This is my finished look, but seriously, like, what do you guys think? Do y'all think it was just a fun theory that resulted in a weather balloon being mistaken as a UFO crash? Or do you think it was a UFO crash that resulted in a major government cover-up? Let me know in the comments, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week, hopefully. Oh, but before I go, as I was researching this, I asked a couple of my friends and family if they knew about Roswell, New Mexico, and the crash that took place there, the alleged alien crash. And shockingly, a lot of them did not know about it. I guess the government did do a good job at covering it up. Now it's just a good TV show. Oh shit, it's still recording. As I was researching this, before I go, oh my god, crashed in New Mexico. I guess the government did do.